lot to cover for. There's a lot of areas of reporting in NCEES. So thank you guys for joining today. You are joining admin reporting in NCEES for 21-22. And Audrey is putting the link to the slide deck in the chat if you would like a copy of today's slides. This is for district and site administrators in NCEES. You're welcome to stay if you're a teacher and you just want to learn about these things. That's perfectly fine. Anybody can join our NCEES webinars and earn the certificate for participating for the hour. So we are in WebEx meetings. You will use the chat for the most part, and make sure you send the question to everyone. Use the chat to enter your questions. If you do have a private question, I do have Q&A open. You can find Q&A under the little 3 dots in your menu bar. The chat circle is in your menu bar as well. You can unmute. We have a small group, so if you have a question and just want to unmute, that's fine, or just put it in the chat. I always circle audio issues. If anybody's having audio issues, make sure you go under the 3 dots and check your audio, switch it, and just try a different way to listen to audio. You can have your camera on. It's not needed for today, but you're welcome to have your camera on if you'd like. We do have closed captions as well. Look for the little, I call him a little Martian guy in the closed captions bubble if you'd like to turn those on and view your closed captions. I am Cammie Nairn. I work for NCDPI under Digital Teaching and Learning and the Home Base division, and I manage your NCEES product, your North Carolina Educator Effectiveness System, which includes evaluations and professional development. I don't believe Dr. Socks can join me today, but he is the NCEES business owner, and he is also the guru and knows all about the policy surrounding NCEES and why we do what we do in NCEES. So if you have any policy questions that I can't answer today, we'll get those to Dr. Socks, and we'll send that out in the follow-up email that goes out at the end of the week. We are currently in process of interviews and making a decision on who to hire to take Dr. Kim Simmons' place. We thoroughly enjoyed working with Kim. She has now retired and working in her district some, so I'm glad she has the opportunity to do that. But we should fill that soon after the beginning of the year. Audrey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Audrey Long, and I work with Cammie. I'm basically the product manager for learning.com. Glad to be here.
Okay, your audio is going way in and out, Audrey.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, when you're close to the mic, I think it comes through. Yeah, right. That was good. Okay, so Audrey does manage learning.com for us here at DPI. All right, our agenda for today is looking at how to plan for reporting for the end of the year. We're going to look at where we go find reports. One of those areas is staff evaluations tab. Then we're going to look at all the different reports under your reporting tab, and that's these next several reports. And then we're going to also look at using ad hoc reporting, which district administrators can do. And there's also a great end of year report for individual PDFs that you can use export a plan to PDF to get the summary evaluations stored and saved to use over the summer to review. I'll take a quick look at the end at the staff dashboard reports that both site and district administrators can run. And then we have just a couple resources and wrap up at the end. So I'll make sure, yep, I got my recorder on. All right, so we are recording and we'll send out that follow-up email. Hopefully by Friday, we'll have that out to you. So we're going to take a look at planning for the end of the year. And this is where administrators and your district sets those calendar deadlines for completing the activities in the evaluation and professional development plans, and also the ability to have those reports run that you're going to need throughout the year, and then definitely at the end of the year to prepare for the upcoming year. These resources here a few of our NCEES leads presented, and I went and presented at the Western Pank. And so that's this second link here. This is a good resource for you. I just click on it to show you what it looks like real quick. And they said we could share this with everybody. This was presented to principals, but it's a link and slides for what to do throughout the year in NCEES. We won't touch on calibration today, but they did talk a little bit about that at the end. But this has a lot of slides in it on what to do. Let me get here. From the beginning of the year, middle of year, and end of year. So I'm going to keep that resource for you. I do have a year at a glance in NCEES. A lot of people always want to know, well, what happens when in NCEES and why. So this is just tells you how the data comes into NCEES. And then I have some little calendar slides in here as well on when things get done in NCEES. So check out those links there. And the final link on that slide goes with the presentation we did at Pank, but it's an actual document that's divided up into the beginning of the year. What can you find that DPI has for you as resources on assigning plans at the beginning of the year? Here's the webinar for the start of the year refresher, and then training your new hires, and then you get into the September beginning year time frame, and then we get into mid-year depending on your school's calendar, which could be from October through February to get mid-year. So we're currently in mid-year right now, and we'll soon be in planning for those end of years. A lot of our larger districts like to be done with evaluations by April, May time frame so that they have time to review everything and run reports and make sure everything is covered before the end of the year, which is June 30th. So do check out those resources there. So just for you to know, as we plan and get ready for the end of the year, I know we're about halfway through, so now is a good time to start thinking about what you're going to do for the end of the year. We need to make sure that all your plans are complete and ready for any end of year processes. So finish all plans. DPI is asking you to finish those prior to June 29th, not June 30th. I have to run reports on June 30th. So if you'll have everything done and complete by June 29th, that would be awesome. So we're going to take a look throughout our slides on the quick reports that are needed. For the end of the year, you're definitely focused on evaluation summary reports and those ratings reports. And then once all the plans are done, the DAs can run some additional reporting that we're going to look at today to save those reports before the end of the year. We always recommend in NCEES that all reports that you're going to need over the summer or for the fall of next year, you need to run those by June 30th. And that's because NCEES is a current year system for some fields in past year reports. So those fields are like people's names and their locations. So if you want to run an evaluation summary report and you want to run it for a past year and you put the location field on a past year report, if that teacher was at school A and now they're at school B, NCEES is going to put school B on that past year report. So that's why we always advise and stress to you to please run any reports. If you want that data for the current year to be in that report to use over the summer, run it before June 30th. All right, let me stop, make sure we don't have any questions yet. So all reports, you need to ask yourself, are all reports complete prior to EOY? And here's all the guides for those reports that I kind of just glanced at, and we're going to look at it a little deeper in just a second. And that's your quick reports, your exporting plans to PDF. This next one is if you are going through beginning teacher audits, this is a good export a plan to PDF to pull those signature activities in the PDP. So that's what this help guide is for. Definitely helps during those BT audits. And then the ad hoc reports, how to schedule those, create and schedule those. We're going to look at all of those. So who has access to reporting in NCEES? And that's any staff that has the system admin type or admin rights of district administrator. Nobody comes into NCEES already set to be a district administrator. They come into NCEES as user levels. Everybody but one group, and we're going to talk about them next. So I have to set the very first district administrator. And then that district administrator can give those rights or assign those rights to other people to be district administrators or site administrators. And that step is found in the district administrator guide that I've linked here. And the next area is the site administrator. We have one group of people that come into NCEES as site administrators, and that's people that are principals that have a budget code of 114. You are already designated in NCEES as a site administrator, and because of that, you can get to reporting and you can get to the My Staff page. Some of our larger districts, like for APs or other roles in NCEES, to help with assigning those access rights to plans or with some reporting. Now, those must be manually assigned. So you must be a district administrator to be able to assign somebody else to be a site administrator. All right, and all that was covered in that very beginning admin refresher webinar. So if you'd like some instructions on that, it is in that webinar. So we're going to take a look first at going to the staff evaluations tab and looking at the reports that are there. The staff evaluation dashboard reports can be run by site or district administrators, people that have access to that page. So I'm going to look at a few slides and then we're going to jump into the live side so that you can view what we're talking about. So we have participation reports on the staff evaluations page. And if at this top graphic, you're looking at the staff evaluations page dashboard. And so all the columns are out here. And then we have the PDP reports and your evaluation containers. And these little flowers will become blue if they're in progress or green if they're complete. So it shows the activity progress of whatever plan and staff you are looking at. This download CSV will pull any data that is on this dashboard. You can filter this dashboard so that you only have your comprehensive plan teachers on there or your principal plans on there, and then use the download CSV to pull what's on this page. The other reports that are on here are under this little graph icon. The only report that's working right now for under this graph icon is the evaluation completion report. And that is going to pull what is on your staff's My Evaluation pages. So it's going to pull the plans that they have there and the activities that are going on, what status they're in. All right, so let's go to the live side. Let me get that up. Uh-oh. I have to log back in. Hang on. Let me try this. Okay, looks like we're good. I'm going to go be a principal at one of my training accounts and show you what this looks like as a principal. Just 1 second. I had him pulled up a while ago, but it must have timed me out. All right. Lost my mouse. There we go. All right, we're going to assume identity of this principal and district administrators. You have the right to do this. You are the only ones that have the right to assume identity if it's been turned on. We just updated the district administrator's rights, so we need to turn that on. If you don't have it anymore, you need to email me and I'll get you the form to request that. All right, so now we're a principal and we're going to go to the staff evaluations page. It's this third link over. All right, so you won't see anybody's plans unless they've made them active on this page. So remember that if you're looking for somebody's PDP, you don't see them here. That's probably because they haven't started their plan. They haven't made it active. So that's one of the first things you look at if you're missing somebody on this page. All right, but we're going to talk about reporting today. And I did want to show you the filter feature for the download CSV while we're out here. So we're on the actual, I'll zoom back out a little bit. There's those status icons I was telling you about. And this principal has access to these staff. So maybe let's just add a filter. And I want to find an active plan that is equal to the comprehensive plans for this year. I want to download those. I can update my table. And now I have just my comprehensive staff on this page. And so when I go to download CSV, I can either open it or save the file. And I'll say, okay. I think I've got mine set to automatically open. I went to my other window. And this is what it looks like. So it's going to give you the statuses. Hopefully you can see that. Um, the owner name, the plan type that I was pulling is pulling exactly what I have on that page, and then the active statuses for each activity that that plan uses. Okay, it's not going to pull anything for the PDP because I pulled up the comprehensive plan, and that's going to be at the other end of this report. Okay. Any questions about how to download a CSV report on the staff evaluations page? So again, that was go to staff evaluations. Move this off. So, there we go. And you can select what you want to show on the page and then use your download CSV to download this report. Okay. The other report was under this graph icon right here. And that's evaluation completion. We're working on these heat map reports. They only would pull summary evaluation, so we're not at that point of the year if they were on, but we're working on those right now. So let's do evaluation completion. And I'm hoping it will load up for me. I was trying this earlier and some of them would not load up, so give it just a minute. I'm working from home, so maybe my internet's being a little slow today. We might go back to the slides to look at this one. I wanted to show you how to do the little steps. All right, I'm going to let that load up. I'm going to bring the slides back. And it's going to be tiny on here. So I had clicked on evaluation completion. And the very first thing you're going to do is pick a plan type. And remember this page, this is a good page to go run so that you know what people are looking at on their My Evaluations page. This is going to pull the statuses from there. It's from the My Evaluation page. So if you have somebody that whose name shows up when you run the comprehensive plan and their name shows up when you pull the standard plan, then they have two plans on their page. And you can see the statuses, whether they've started the plans or not. This is also a good way to see if they've started. So when it first comes up, every single box on this page, every single activity is going to be checked. So at the very bottom of the list is a deselect all button. I deselect all, and then I go in and check what I want the report to show. Once I check what I want the report to show, I click refresh, and then I'll scroll down the page, and it gives me these graphs here, and down a little bit farther, it gives me the actual what status of each activity for the ones that I've checked are showing. Is it complete? Is it in progress? Is it not started? So orange would be not started, green would be complete, blue would be in progress. This report has an overall status. So if the overall status is not started, then that's a plan that they've not started. This is helpful to find those people who you change plans on to see if they're in the correct plan. It's also helpful to see the statuses. So I'm going to pop back over there and see if that loaded up or not for us. And it did not. I'm going to have to talk to PowerSchool. See why that's not popping up. So hopefully it's working for you guys. If not, let me know, because then I'll know there's a bigger issue going on, because it should pop up. All right, sorry about that not popping up for me today. While you're on this page, there is a download as a PDF icon. It's very tiny up here above this data. Or you can download it as a CSV file. It will be on it's right here. The CSV file is here. The PDF icon is actually up on the right. It will be up here somewhere. You can also drill down into here in this area up here and only view certain steps and activities, so you can see the percentages of who has completed what. This is a very good report. If you've not run this, please go check that out. A lot of our districts run this fairly frequently, at least once a month, to see where everybody's statuses are, especially if they need to tell that data to the superintendents. Okay, any questions about the staff evaluations page before we move on to the reporting tab? Okay. All right, so we're going to take a look at reporting, and the first area we're going to look at is portal reports. This tells you how many people have logged in. It's a very simple report. There is a more detailed report when we get to the staff dashboard reports. So let me go show you that real quick. So if I go to reporting, yeah, I think we're having an issue with NCEES this afternoon. Let's see. Okay. So when I'm on reporting, and if you're zoomed in, it will drop the menu into this little drop down arrow. And here's my reporting menu that I've clicked on. The first area on this page is reports. The next area is my reports. And then finally, there is my ad hoc reports. So we're going to stay in reports for a couple minutes. And the first report I wanted to show you was this portal management. It will spin. It will say you can run login statistics by date. So I'm going to do next. All right, since this is it may be causing an issue because I'm using a training user. If you're running this at district level, this will say district, and then you'll have a district location here. Or at the district level, you can switch to school, site administrators, principals. You're just going to see school, and then a list of all the schools that you have access to. Once you've made your selections there, you're going to click next. And then you're going to pick a date when to run from. I'm just going to do July 1 of 2021, and I'm going to click done. Just want to show you this is a real simple report. If anybody's interested in login statistics, if you want a more detailed login report, we're going to look at that when we go to staff dashboards. There it is. All right, so here's all my users that this person has access to. It's just going to show you how many logins have been happening since July 1st. So very simple. All right, and then the login duration. There is a PDF to download this report. All right, we're going to go back to reporting and look at our next report, which is your GP status report. It's the one that comes up automatically here. If you ever need a description of the reports that you're in, you click this word here, and it will tell you about the report. This is handy on the quick reports because it lists all the reports and what they're used for. So I like this report. We just turned it on last year, working with a district that remembered this report from years back. And so we worked with them and worked with PowerSchool to get this turned back on. It's probably not a good printable report, but it is a great report to get percentages. So I'm going to click next. And again, if you're district level, you'll see district. So it looks very similar to what we just did. If you only have access to one school, that's all you're going to get in your drop down. We're going to do next. And then I'd have to pick what plan to look at. So I think I'm going to look at maybe my PDPs. And I'll click next. And it says it's ready to be run. Click done. Zoom out just a little bit. I hope you guys can see that okay. So notice I now have all the schools that I have access to, how many people are on a professional development plan in my school. I have 7. Trying to zoom in a little bit. How many have not started their PDP? I have 5 that have not started their PDP. I have 2 that are in progress, and nobody has overall completed the PDP. You can drill down into any of these plus signs. If I do the top one, it opens everything up. Okay. And then I can look at all of them. If I don't do this one and I only want to look at my initial review, then I've opened up now just the initial review. And I have my percentages as well. Out of 7, 86% have not started their PDP initial review. 1 is showing in progress. And then the next area down, the evaluator has signed off. I have 1 that has signed off. So apparently this is a little flag to me because evidently this activity was reopened and it was complete before, or nobody could have signed off on the activity. So we've reopened this person's activity for some reason. If I want to know who that is, I can click into the school name. Let it load up. And now I have all the staff that I have on my PDPs. I can drill down into that initial review and see here's this person that has everything signed off, but for some reason the review is now back in progress. And it's probably because the district administrator has reopened that activity, so which puts it back to in progress on this report. The ends are the not started, and you can drill down into anybody to see where they're at. So this is just a quick, good visual report. Also a good area on that previous section to get percentages of who's completed what activity in their plan. All right, any questions about the GP status or your plan activity status report? Okay, we're going to go back to reporting and look at quick reports. We're in the middle of the year, so we're just going to look here. If you've not been out here before, when you click into here, you're going to say, oh, everything's doubled up. But if you'll look, the activity report current year, and then we have activity lock report select year. So this is where you can run past year reports. I'll just click on one to show it to you real quick. Click next. You can select the year to run. All right, not a future year. You select a past year to run. Come back. The reason we have them doubled up, the quick reports, and then we pick a report to run. The reason we have them doubled up because we needed these current year reports to be able to schedule reports to run at certain dates during the year. So these are our schedulable reports, and these are reports that you can run past years on. Evaluation completion exception report. This is an awesome report, and everybody runs this fairly often. I'm going to run it real quick for you. This is kind of similar to what we just looked at on the staff evaluations page. It's going to give you who's done or who's complete or who's in progress with their activities. All right, so we have the evaluation completion exception report for all users and all sites I have access to. So I can just look across, look at the activities, and see which ones are not started, which persons I have an activity in progress, if the activity is completed. I think that's all I've got showing here. I think sometimes it shows pending completion if you've reopened the activity. Up here, you have the download to a CSV, which will download what's on this page. There's also TSV option. You can print a PDF. So go check out those reports. We're not going to go run all of those, but there's a bunch out there. The very first bunch are your end of year reports. So I'm just going to show you where those are. And that's these evaluation summary reports. So those are the ones you're going to need for the end of the year. But if you just scroll down, you'll see there's a lot of reports out here that you can attempt to run. Maybe you need a record of the PDP activities and observation start and end times. If you're an office administrator, maybe you have a PD office with us and then you want to run your transcript report. That must be an office administrator that can run that. Orientation dates, what dates did my people complete their orientation, all kinds of reports out there. I'm going to pop back to the slides just a minute to make sure we're on time. So we looked at the portal reports, how to select those modules. Here's that portal report, login statistics by date. Oh, we didn't do the memorize this report. Let me go see if I can show you that. And we looked at the GP status report and the evaluation. This is GP status report for the evaluation current year. I do have a video out here for you how to run that. And I did link the guide on that previous slide. And then we looked at quick reports. We'll go look at memorize in just a second. Here is a couple notes that are very, very important. Every year this time I get districts wanting, the superintendents are wanting to know the ratings reports for staff right now. Well, there are no ratings right now because, as you know, in observations, the evaluators are checking the descriptor boxes in the rubric for knowledge, action, interaction, and extension. Nobody is checking a box that says developing, proficient, accomplished, or distinguished during an observation. That does not happen until the end of the year. So we do not have a report that pulls ratings during the observation period of the year. So remember that. There is a report that the district administrator can create in ad hoc reporting that will pull the descriptors. It will give you all the text of every box that was checked. So there is a report that will pull all the descriptors that were checked with somebody by an evaluator on each staff. And then the other note is the reports, the quick reports in NCEES especially, only pull data on the active plans. So for instance, if you're trying to find a report of who's been assigned as a mentor, and that is one of your quick reports, if you run that report and the mentor's name does not show up, that's a signal to you that that staff the mentor is assigned to has not started their plan. And you're going to have to go make sure all your staff have started their plans before you can run that report and it pull all the mentors. All right, we looked at the quick reports and more about the quick reports. All right, so let me come back real quick and show you that memorized report. Keep losing my little icons. Sorry about that. Patience. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do quick report. Let's see if this one has one. I believe my internet is a little slow today. Well, goodness gracious. We're going to scroll back up to this. All right. You should see when you run a report, a memorize this report button. So what that does is put it lower on your page into the My Reports area. So when you click memorize this report, you can change the name of the report. And then if you want, if it makes it more meaningful to you to change the name of the report, then you can click memorize and it will load up in your My Reports area. And we're going to look at that next so that you can, instead of going and dropping down through that long list, already have the main reports that you always run listed in your My Reports area. So you can just come here, find your report that you memorize, and click Run Report. All right, and then we'll look at the other areas of My Reports in just 1 second. Let me see if that's loaded up yet. Ah, and it does not have some of them. Oh, there it is. There's the memorize this report. Here, notice I could change that if I wanted to. I can click memorize and it added it to my memorized reports list. So where is this memorized reports list once I come off this page? If I go back to reporting and scroll down this page to my reports, here are my memorized reports. I can create other reports here. It takes me back to that reporting area. I can also manage reports. And if you want to schedule any of these reports to run throughout the year, monthly, every 6 weeks, every 9 weeks, then you need to go to Manage Reports. It gives you a list of your memorized reports again, so you can remove them or edit them. But here is the Scheduled Reports button. And it's worded kind of funny because you're going to be scheduling a quick reports. So this is how to get to your scheduled quick reports, because it's also a list of any reports that you've already scheduled to run. All right, so my training guy sees reports that other people have already scheduled out here. So you can see people have been scheduling reports. We're going to click this Create Scheduled Quick Report. And maybe I want to run my Evaluation Completion Exception Report. It has to have the current year after it, and it only does show the current year reports out here. I'm going to do my title. If I want to have a date in here, I can put this macro in. So I can do eval, completions, and then I have the date that's going to be on the file name. When do I want my export to start? I can pick a date here with the calendar widget. Or do I want to set a time for it? Well, I do need to tell it what time to run it. So I'm going to say I want to run it. Oh, let's do 6 p.m. Do I want this report to reoccur? And I can do daily, weekly, monthly, or specify additional dates. So if it's not monthly, but you need to run it approximately monthly, but on certain dates, then what you do is select specify additional dates. Pick the next date this report should run. And then if you need another date, pick the next date and see how it adds it. And then if you make a mistake, just remove it. So that's how you add individual dates. Just keep picking. It's not doesn't really tell you that, but just keep adding additional dates for when the next one should run. And then who should this go to? You should get an email that tells you when the report is ready. And I actually think it actually emails you the report. Skip all of the FTP information. We don't use that. Just click add. And now my report is scheduled. It's down here in the list somewhere. So I don't know. Yep, I have a filter. So I'm going to do created by. See if that does it and update my table. Yep. So I searched for my name, my created by, and now I see the reports that I have scheduled. All right. That's how to schedule your quick reports. Now we need to move on. Let's see. Wow, is that already 4:40? Okay. Going on down the page, my ad hoc reports. These are reports that were published by me or somebody in your district has published a ad hoc report to you. So you don't see anything here under my ad hoc reports unless somebody has published a report to you. This is your run icon. If you created the report, you'll also have a trash can icon, so you could delete it from here if you wanted to. Once you run a report, they will fall under the cast reports, and they do run out. So within 4 to 5 days, that report will fall off. And if you need it, save it. You need to come out here and download the report once it shows up under my cast reports. Here's a little show all because DPI has published a lot of reports out there. So you can see all the reports to run. Let's see. Run this one. If you run it and it comes up like this, if whoever created the report put a filter on the report, you do not have to use any filters. You can just click search, which will run the report as is. If you do want to add and you say only want to find archived evaluations, and I could say yes to the archive and click search. So that's what this is if you see this when you're running a report. All right, so that's the reporting tab. Go back to my slides real quick. All right, so we've covered all of these. And the next area we're going to get to is creating, running, and publishing and scheduling ad hoc reports. So I'm planning on doing just an hour on this ad hoc reports next year, early in the year, if you want to come back for a very thorough training on running and creating ad hoc reports. But to get to ad hoc reports, you have to ask yourself some questions. Why do I want to run the report? What type of report do I need to pick? Where will I put the information? What am I trying to find with my ad hoc report? And then what kind of query should I create in the report? And then am I going to publish or export this report? There is a guide for ad hoc reporting. There's a Word version and a PDF version. I put out here several slides with all the main reports. that are in ad hoc reporting to kind of let you know what each report will pull. So you've got evaluation status, evaluation access group, who are those peers, who are those mentors, observations single row, which has more data for all the activities in the observations. If you're doing PD, there's course reports out here and roster reports, more PD, transcripts for PD. People report. This is nice. You can come out here and run a people report and get all their statuses, their license expiration dates, what plan types they're on. That's the people report. And then user sites, what sites are showing up on your people. If they have more than one site, it should show up on that report. And you can identify if they should have more than one site or location, or if somebody needs to be contacted to remove them from a site. All right. I don't think we have any questions coming in. I just stopped and peeked at that just a minute. This is a spreadsheet that I pulled for you. So if you have people that really love to work with ad hoc reports, these are all the fields that are in the ad hoc reports. Now, this is like a year, maybe 2 years old, so that we may have a couple other fields, but this is a good starting point for if you're creating ad hoc reports for you to maybe come out here and put X's in which of these fields that you used, so that if you were ever to leave your district, that would be a record for the next person coming behind you. Because once you leave, there's no way for you to give somebody else your ad hoc report. They're going to have to recreate it. All right, so ad hoc reports, let's go look at that real quick. And all right, so I'm going to stop impersonating because site administrators you can't get here. This is a district administrator, right? And we're going to go to system administration. And we're going to scroll down the page. And you guys will see this ad hoc reporting restricted. Restricted just means the results are restricted. They're restricted to your access rights in your location. Here's what it looks like. If you've run reports, they're going to show up here. It's just like your cached reports up here. They will fall off the list eventually, and it will tell you what date that they're active until, so that you can download them before that date runs out. If you're running a report, there's a refresh button up here. Usually you run the report, you wait for an email to come, but you can sit here and click this refresh button until you see the icon that says you can see your report. So let's go down the page. There's several reports out here. I'm probably seeing some that you don't have access to. We no longer have ASW in the system. Audit logs, these are good reports for who did what when on the demographics. And then here is course reports, evaluation access groups. This is your peers, your mentors. So I'm just going to drill down into this. So DPI has published reports. I don't have a lot published this year, but you can look at last year's and create your own from the check marks that I have in there. So we're going to look at how to create one in just a minute. You do have another cached area here. So if you did run an evaluation access report, it would show up here under the cache reports. So you can access it down here as well. Again, it will run off when the date ends. So let's create a new report. And this is just going to be a quick view. You guys will see this. Let me scroll out. Still loading up, sorry. Didn't realize it was still spinning. All right. So over here on the right is where you're going to make your selections on what should be in the report. It will already come checked. If you want to decide everything that goes in there, you can uncheck everything or check everything by using this box at the top. Your report can also be sorted by 2 fields. So if you want to do like the people's names, you can say I want to sort it by last name and first name. So that's your sort fields. And notice it's going to include it on the report. Here is that filter option. If I scroll all the way down and I have my, plan sites, and I want a filter option for my district administrators to be able to pick their school, then I'll turn on that filter. That is one that turns on all of these, and we're working with PowerSchool to find out why. Or you can just do the school code one at a time. That only comes on once. So that's the filter options that show up on that reporting page. And again, it will only put on the report. See, if I check this here, but don't check here, then this is not going to show on the report the school code unless I check the box on the left. So to get a field to show on the report, you must check the boxes on the left. So then I pick here, what do I want included on this access report? I just want who has access to my abbreviated plans for this school year, so I'll pick that. Maybe. Apologize for the slow internet today. There we go. Sometimes when you're picking a field here, it does this. It adds additional fields that you can use based on what you picked. So if you see it spinning, give it a minute to spin. And then do I want to include every group that has access to the plan? It's still loading up. Yep, here it is. Or do I only want to see who has access as a teacher or who has access as an observer, or every group? And then once I've made all my choices on what needs to show on this report, maybe I want to know what plan types people are on, license expiration dates, district administrators who can assume identity and who can assign access rights, things like that. I can just run my report as is. If I want to save this report to run it again, I'm going to choose Save As. Oh, and I haven't put a title in, so let's do this. I can put a description. I just want a raw data report. Graphical data, play with this some. That's here in the middle. So even if it's got pink and it says usually you shouldn't use this for graphical data report, you can still play with it and see if it will pull something. Maybe I want to find something on a graph, and then I'm going to get a report that both has raw data and graph data. So that would be what this here is. But if I want the graph data, I must select graphical. I'm just going to do raw data and do Save As. And I come to this page. Under this page is where I can either run the report now or schedule an export. Just wanted to show you that real quick. Very similar to what we did a while ago. You name it, you put a file name and date in there if you want. You pick the export dates and how often it should reoccur. So exact same steps that you used before. This one does come with what order do you want your columns to be in. So you can move these. Okay. And then click Save. I'm going to click Cancel. But that's another area that you can schedule reports in. To publish reports, we'll go into that in next year's webinar for ad hoc reporting, but you can either target to add an individual user or target it to a group of users. I'm just going to click Target to Group. If you selected individual user, I have a slide in the slide deck. You're going to search for their first and last name. They must be in NCEES, and then just add them to the report. So when you're publishing a report, you should only be publishing to people that have site administrator access or district administrator access. The teachers cannot run reports. Your staff cannot run reports. When you want it published, should the report expire? Probably so. It's always good, even if it's a 3-year report, set that expiration date so that it's not out there forever. Who should be included on the report? I always just leave it people that meet all the criteria. All right, and then you just go through all of these. Are they active or not? I would say active. What are their staff positions? What are their admin rights? There is a guide out there to go through all of this. If you've set up staff groups, you can skip all of this. So maybe you've set up a staff group of all your principals, and you can just come down here and select the staff group of the principals and then click finish, which I'm not going to do. It's going to ask you, are you sure? And then it will publish that report to them. All right, we only have a few more minutes, so I'm going to go back to the slide deck. Reporting just covers so much in NCEES. All right, so that was a quick view of ad hoc reporting. Do plan on coming back next year for the full ad hoc reporting webinar. Did want to show you staff dashboards real quick before we go. There's publishing to individual users, publishing to a group. Once you run your report and you're viewing the report, you can download a CSV of your report. This is what you need to do before the date expires. I'll also include on how to export a plan to PDF. This is an amazing report. We've worked out a lot of the kinks with PowerSchool. It no longer gets we used to get a lot of failures in it, but now it's running very well. It gives you that end of year individual summary evaluation report. Do check that out. There's your guides for setting up the end of year report or setting up a report for your BT audits. You can use it for other areas as well. The staff dashboard reports. We're going to go look at those just real quick. Those are found under system administration, staff dashboards. Give it a minute to load up. You can load up a group to look at by it's 4 different areas over here on the left. Slowly loading up here. I like the browse staff by site, but you can also browse staff by the different demographics. Maybe you need beginning teachers or counselors. That's in demographics. You can search for individual staff, or if you have saved staff groups, you can pick them there. So I'm just going to do browse staff by site. Just going to do training. It's going to load up people here in the middle. And then I have different reports over here to look at. They want to show you where the other portal report is. So here's my portal report. So if people are telling you that they've finished a step in their plan, they've logged in every day for the last week, you can come out here and click this little spreadsheet, and it will give you a detailed list of the days since people last logged in. Now, it does give a range, not an exact date, but if they've logged in within the last 0 to 14 days or 15 to 30 days, it will give you a list of their names. Group reports, we don't use these much. I think your quick reports are much better. You can look at individual information, and our PD webinars talk about the course completion reporting reports. All right, Audrey, I don't think we have any questions coming in. All right, so that's the staff dashboard reports. I've included our customer service manager, Sean Bayer. Here's recording that he did for us in April about the staff dashboards. So check that out. Here's how to do the portal reports and everything we just looked at real quick. The course completion reporting reports. If you want to find out if everybody's completed the mentor plan that you assigned it to, that's a good report to go to. All right, so we're going to wrap up. It is 5 o'clock, and I want to give you your link. Here's another webinar if you're on here and you want to do PD reports. This is another webinar from Sean. It's very good, so watch that. Our NCEES website. Our contacts for NCEES are out here. My email is linked here. Dr. Sox's email. My manager, he actually is now promoted, so we're looking for a new manager for home base. So if you know anybody that wants to apply, that position is open. My contact information. If you want a 30-minute time period with me to go through any of these reports, please use this link right here and just schedule a date with me. I'm happy to get on and walk through individually with you or a little group to how to do the different reports or answer questions about NCEES. And then let me get you this link and put it in the chat. So please do complete our feedback. And I know this was a lot of information, and I hope I've included all the resources that you need in your slides. But you can fill out this webinar feedback form, and you have to elect on the last two questions to receive a certificate, and then it will email you your certificate, and you can print out your certificate and turn it into your district for approval. We don't approve your CEUs. Your district has to do that. So elect to receive it on the feedback form, and then it will email you that information. So thank you for attending today. I hope you guys enjoy your winter break and you have some happy holidays. I know it is 5 o'clock, so I'm going to stop recording, but I'll stay on the line if anybody has any questions for me. And I hope everybody has a great evening.